Inside this house lives a man with a story for the ages. He's a World War II hero with an amazing story and an incredible past. And as if fate decreed it, next door is an equally amazing man with an equally fascinating story. And it happens that they are brothers.
Theodore R. Merolda. I grew up in Winsted, born in Winsted on Wallen's Hill.
My name is Edward D. Merolda, like in Dominic. I was born May 16, 1918.
We grew up during the Depression, and things were tough. Nobody had jobs, there was no money, and we survived. We all worked together and survived.
The family moved to Winsted, and then from there to Pine Meadow, then back to Winsted, and then to New York City, then from New York City back to Winsted again. And this is where we grew up.
I always felt that we survived. We had some food, we had a roof over our head, and we were a lot better off than a lot of people.
As products of the 1930s and the Depression, both brothers needed to work and find jobs at an early age.
Everybody had to have a job, and whatever little you could make. I worked in the theater here in Winsted as an usher, and I got $2.50 a week. I gave my mother the $2 she wanted, and I had 50 cents for myself and 2 free passes, which I used to bring my girl to the movies with. And I didn't tell my mother about the 2 free passes because I don't know if I would have lost them.
Just like Teddy, Ed found a variety of jobs himself.
Factories, the hat shop, the wire shop.
My brother-in-law was an expert floor man, linoleum, tiles, carpet, everything. And he taught Eddie the business.
And I would work with him until 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. And then the war intervened.
That's a picture of me taken with the Jap flag. These are natives, native islanders.
Like most people of the time, the Merolda brothers entered the service, albeit in different branches.
I said to my buddy Phil Delude from East Canaan, and I said, Phil, I'm going to go down tomorrow and enlist in, I didn't say where, I just said I was going to enlist. So Phil says, not me. He says, I'm staying here making the big bucks. I said, okay, Phil. So we worked, 7 o'clock comes around, Phil comes up to me and says, I'm going with you. So we were thinking about Navy. So we get down there and the guy's saying, you're making a good choice. Navy or Army, the Marines are no good, and he bad-mouthed the Marines. So we looked at each other, we come outside and we said, let's go to Waterbury, we'll join the Marines.
We went to Camp Landing in Florida to get our basic training. While we were in Florida, having our basic training, the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. So we had 9 months of training in before they bombed Pearl Harbor. So we were all set to go to do whatever we had to do.
The brothers, at times, felt trapped, fighting an enemy in Japan that had never lost a war, with equipment that was dated.
We were waiting for troops to come in, food to come in, anything. It was so bad that the Japs controlled the sea. They controlled it at night.
And it's clear listening to the brothers today that the indelible, emotional, humorous, and extraordinarily personal memories are vivid to this day.
When we left Fort Moultrie went into the Atlantic, the minute we got into the Atlantic, we hit rough weather. Everybody on the ship got sick. There was vomit all over the decks, all over the bathrooms. And I thought to myself, geez, I'm lucky I'm not sick yet. Well, after the 3rd day, smelling the vomit and all that went on, I got sick. I went back to my bunk and I laid there for the rest of the trip until we got to the Panama Canal. Finally, when we got into the Panama Canal and the ship settled down, I got my sea legs. And from then on, no matter what bad weather we ever had going overseas, I never got sick again. So, like they say, you got your sea legs, and I got them.
Thank God we captured a big Jap warehouse, because they were planning on building a big airfield there, and the warehouse was filled with rice and other food, and we lived for about 2.5 months on rations of one, and most of the time it was rice. They had 5-gallon cans of rice and fish heads in fish oil. And no matter how hungry I got, I couldn't put that down. That was one thing I couldn't eat. But the rice wasn't too bad, but not rice like we have here. It was just the way it came from the field with all the husk and everything on it. And all full of, because they were woven bags, 50-pound bags, and the bugs got in them. And like the one of the fellows said, well, you see, you're getting protein with the bugs. This is some Japanese, just plain, ordinary. They paid the natives with this. It was worthless, but the Japanese paid the native workers with this money. But this right here is real Japanese money. One of my buddies got his ear shot off. The bullet went in the helmet, went around and took his ear off here. 21 days later, he was back on the line. He lost half his ear. An air raid one day, and they hit real close. A daisy cutter hit, and 2 of my buddies got chopped up. And I was a little close to them, and I got a blast, but that I didn't get wounded or anything. But these 2 fellows were killed. I went to see 2 or 3 of my buddies' families when I came home, and one of them was excruciating, painful. The grandmother over here in Barkhamsted, I went to see her. And being in uniform and having a kind of a prominent nose, she come running out. She thought it was him by some miracle. She hadn't noticed that he was killed in action, but by some miracle she thought it was him. And she come running up to me, and when she got up to me, oh, the life went out of her. I was supposed to go to a couple more in Massachusetts. I went to 3 of them, buddies that were killed, but I didn't go to Massachusetts. After that, I couldn't do it.
I was home on leave, and I got a telegram, and it said, report to Fort Dix for a possible discharge. And I was home in Winsted. So Ted was home at the same time. So both of us chiseled a ride from Winsted. We hitchhiked to Long Island to my brother's house, and then from there I went to Fort Dix. He went to my brother-in-law's house. The next morning he opened up the paper. There on the back page of the New York News was my picture being discharged.
I remember when the first American planes come in, 7 of them come in, the whole island went mad. We were all jumping up and down screaming. First we started to dive for shelters, and then we realized, we looked up and we saw it was American planes. The picture of my girlfriend pointing to my name, and then my 2 brothers are in there too. She would send me these pictures, and I could see her growing up and getting prettier and prettier. You know, you get a little older, you get up to 18, 19 years old, you start to look different. And I was saying to myself, oh boy, she's not going to wait for me. But anyway, she was there when I come home, and I proposed and we got married.
Returning from the war meant new opportunities and a whole new life, including starting a business.
We came home, and we were working at various places. He was working for his brother-in-law. They had a factory. And we decided we wanted to work for ourselves, and we started out, I think our whole capital was $450.
We had our little spats and little arguments here and there, but we always managed to patch it up and get back together again. The important thing was to keep the business going, make a good living for our families, treat our customers right, which we think we always did. That's why we could last for 37 years.
Post-war life was rewarding with their flourishing business. But as they had in the past, the brothers faced more hardship. Only this time, tragedy struck much closer to home, and more than once.
Ted's son, Teddy, his other son, Larry, my son, Edward, and my son, Jerry. They went swimming in the cove at Woodland Park, and they went out on the raft, and when the raft sunk, 3 of them made it back to shore, 1 of them didn't. My son, Jerry, was drowned. They called the store and they said, 1 of the Meralda boys are in trouble at the lake. We don't know which one it is. So both of us jumped in our cars and went up to there. And when I got up there, my son was laying on the ground. And at that time, they didn't know too much about respiration. And I think today he would have been alive if they knew a little bit about artificial respiration. So I went over to him, and he was still warm, and I called to him and hollered to him, and they couldn't help him, and he died. Going on 9, going on 10.
Along about 1978, we had 2 kids set a fire in the back of the building, and we lost everything. Everything went up in smoke.
And just as the brothers had faced other challenges in their lives, they dealt with the loss of their business with the same will and determination to overcome it.
We started up the next day. I had telephones put in my home here. We didn't have any furniture left, it was all gone, but we still had our floor covering business, and we had work lined up for a couple of weeks. So the men went out working every day. We were sitting having dinner in Greece on vacation, and he come up and he said, I want your autograph. And she said, oh, my autograph? What do you want my autograph for? He said, you're Catherine Hepburn. She said, no, I'm not. I'm Mrs. Meralda. So he kept insisting and kept coming over and insisting. So finally, when we got up to leave, he was getting me a little teeth. So I said to her, come on, Katie. He looks at me, I knew you were lying. I knew you were lying. Yeah.
I retired in 83, remarried, and unfortunately in 4 years my wife developed cancer and died. She was only 56 years old when she died. So we were only married for 7 years.
One extraordinary part of Teddy's life was his wife Peggy's 80-year-long friendship with Lucy Christian. A friendship that ended only when they died within hours of each other.
Lucy died, and I think it was 10 or 12 hours later that my wife died. Here's 2 girls that grew up and went together, and they passed away within hours of each other.
After all the heartaches, the sacrifices, and their life's experiences, Teddy and Ed are still close, still positive, and full of the love that's seen them through.
Oh yeah, we still have a very strong relationship. I come over every day for coffee. We have, if we go shopping, sometimes we go shopping together, and we have our social meetings together.
Yeah, we always got along pretty good. Yep. I don't know how the hell he stood me, but...
Yeah, we always talk about the war. That's 90% of our conversation. What we did, where we went, how we acted.
had a good full life, and there was a time there on Guadalcanal when we thought we were going to die there, all of us. None of us thought we were getting off alive.
They are true patriots, worthy of respect and thanks, and genuine examples of what it is to be true Americans.
After that, we always figure that no matter when you went after that, every day after that was a bonus. I always felt that way. After we left there, I felt every day I lived after that was a bonus day. Yeah.